Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the podcast Strikes Back. My name is George, and you're listening to our review of Isle of Dogs with the boys Connor
Hello.
and Benny.
Hi there.
Guys, Wes Anderson's back
Whoa.
with another stop
The
motion.
brand new rap.
The first film he's ever done, ever. No, I'm kidding. I don't know where I'm going with that. His second stop motion film since Fantastic Mr. Fox, which I really enjoyed a few years ago. So, Benny,
Yes.
do you want to give us a little plot synopsis
Oh, shit.
of Isle of Dogs?
Isle of Dogs. All right. 20 years in the future, Megasaki, Japan. I don't think that's a real place. There's like a dog. There's too many dogs. So Japan's like, all the dogs got to go to the island. There's too many dogs. This is so much better than they tell it in a movie.
I love
That's
this.
great. Yeah, and then there's like an evil mayor or something, and he did that. And there's like a conspiracy.
Yeah.
But and then there's a kid, and he wants to get his dog back, so he goes to the island. That's it.
I think that's a testament to this film. Like, it's not a plot-based film.
We're
It's a
just
feeling
we're
and a
just going past
vibe-based
that, are
film.
we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
That was
That's
it.
succinct.
Where's the
Yeah.
lie?
Yeah. What's your relationship with Wes Anderson?
He's
how do you-
divisive.
Yeah. How do you like going, or how did you feel going into this? Like, what were you expecting?
I was really excited for this. I enjoyed the trailers. Loved the look of it. Really loved the tactileness that Wes Anderson brings to the stop motion.
Looks very different than
like
other,
a
like
Leica.
or something.
Like
It's not
Leica's very a lot cleaner.
slick and
Yeah, and evidently Leica 3D prints the faces of the characters, whilst this production it was all hand done. And it's just got a different aesthetic. And I was really excited to see. Just another little quaint Wes Anderson tale. I really like what he does. Sometimes I've got to be in the mood because I didn't really love Grand Budapest, but I think that was because I saw it. I think, as I said, you've got to be in the mood for Wes Anderson. He's got a very particular style, and if you're not really in the zone, it can be a little bit like...
if a hipster cut you off at lunch,
yeah.
you're not going to be.
Yeah.
You're not going to
way
be
too
into it.
hipster sometimes. I was excited for this. I was very excited for this.
Yeah.
So I'm a big Wes Anderson fan. I think he's getting better as a director as well. So I was very keen to see this. Grand Budapest, I thought, was just one of the best films of the year, and Moonrise Kingdom as well.
I love Moonrise.
Really terrific.
Really love
yeah,
Moonrise.
Yeah, so that probably maybe hurt you a bit with Grand Budapest, but Fantastic Mr. Fox is like one of a minor one of his. I feel like I really enjoyed it. I've seen it a couple of times, but never really feel the need to go back and revisit it or anything. But yeah, I thought this looked like another one of that, and it pretty much fulfilled that.
Yeah. It's not a popular opinion, but I can kind of take or leave Wes Anderson.
Wow, interesting.
And that's very much because George, like you said, you very much have to be in a particular mood for Wes Anderson, and I find that it can be too easy to get turned off him if you're not willing to sit very patiently for a story. Because I think that's probably one. I think you described it really well. Like, he's very quaint with his filmmaking. Apart from Grand Budapest Hotel, which I felt was a lot more. There's a lot more urgency in that film than any of his other films. I felt, at least. And that kind of sped things along quite quickly. So I wasn't coming into this with any kind of expectations, positive or negative, really. I liked the look of or the style, which I'd seen in the trailers and all that. So I was excited to see how that panned out for the rest of the film. And ultimately, I was, I guess, pleasantly surprised. Is probably the best way to put it. I enjoyed it. It kind of fell into some of the traps that I thought it would. But apart from that, I thought it was really good.
Yeah. The first thing I'd like to talk about is obviously the look of this film. I really love the yellows and the browns, and it just has a
Love a good
very,
brown.
very different kind of look. And I really appreciated that. It sticks to Wes Anderson's kind of dollhouse aesthetic that he has, where you're sort of looking into a scene.
Yeah.
Sort of that fourth wall kind of aesthetic, which I really enjoy. I like how he has that continuity. But the look of the dogs, and the way their fur moves.
I
The
love the
animation is stunning.
Yeah, I
The
love the
attention to
texture of
detail.
this
Yeah.
film, which is what really got me, particularly in things that like smoke or
Yeah, the
anything.
cotton wool kind of
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was very cool. I appreciated that.
The stylization, like whenever you're looking at a monitor or TV footage, it would be just animated.
Yeah,
like
cartoon.
2D
Yeah.
animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed that.
And there was some close-ups on some characters where their eyes they start crying, and the way their eyes are just darting around, like it just seemed so realistic and
Yeah.
really drew me into the story.
Speaking of close up on faces, that henchman dude, the design of him was spectacular.
Of the mayor,
No, the henchman to the mayor, like the second.
yeah,
command.
yeah,
Major Domo.
Yeah, old creepy dude.
Yeah.
Fuck,
very
that was-
creepy. Looked like reminded me of the
Yeah, I know. Salad
Hellboy
fingers.
2.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that. Yeah, but Hellboy 2, the sort of
Long face, yeah.
elven guard guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like the meticulousness in this film, just the time and effort required to put this kind of thing together. Evidently, this is one of the longest stop motion films ever released. So, there's just like the volume of like expertise and people involved. There's just such a there's love in this film, and you really feel that it translates on the screen. I love that, and that's my favorite thing about this film.
I feel like as much as you can see the effort put into it, you almost take it for granted though, because you like when you actually think about how much work went into the craft of this movie, it's like wow, it almost looks effortless the way how good they make it look.
And like that, there's the opening shot where there's leaves brushing past. And, in other companies or other productions, that would have probably been CG. But this was all like little maple leaves, just frame by frame, going across the screen. It seems so like, who cares about a leaf? But I don't know. I just noticed those little details.
Yeah, no, it is. It's really impressive, and I think it comes across that I think that if you had any complaints about this film, one of them could not be the way that it looks, because it
definitely not.
looks really, really, really good.
Especially for stop motion fans.
Oh yeah. So in terms, this is going to be an interesting one to talk about, I think, because animation in general is hard to talk about, particularly when you talk about cast. But I think we can talk about characters.
What about the plot though? Before we get into specifics,
Yeah.
like what about like just more top level? Like, did you guys enjoy the plot, and did you enjoy?
I was going to wait until spoilers before we really get into plot. The one thing I did want to talk about was language, and the way that they dealt with language and the way that they addressed it right off the bat, which I thought was very cool. If not a bit hipstery, but I mean, because the
Super hipstery.
well, it was at one point. I was like, okay, I get that you're doing something original and all that, but about halfway through the film, when some of the characters are speaking Japanese, I'm like, just give me subtitles. Just
So all of the dogs speak in English. They're pretty much all American actors. But it's set in Japan, and all the human characters are just speaking Japanese. And generally, there'll be like someone just translating into English, like someone in the actual story translating.
Yeah, as a news report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had like I think three main mechanics. Was either one was you saw what they were typing, or someone kind of translated for, or there was another one I can't quite remember.
One of the characters is a foreign exchange student,
Yeah.
so she just speaks in English.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got what they were going for with that, and I thought that was clever, but it started to feel gimmicky about halfway through, because I was like, look, this is really slowing down the story.
The only thing that I found a little irritating with that was, I guess, just like the amount of news reports. Like they just kept going back to that, and I don't know. It kind of like I started to sort of switch off a little bit in those sequences, and I wasn't paying attention to what was actually happening, what was being conveyed in that dialogue.
I almost wish there was more just Japanese dialogue not being translated, because there are several bits of the film where someone will just be speaking Japanese and there's no subtitles, no translation going on, but you get the gist of what they're saying completely.
It's all context.
And
And the beautiful animation conveys it.
Absolutely, yeah. And they'll drop in a couple of English words in there, as you kind of see in Japan. And yeah, you don't really always need, I think, someone just literally talking over a Japanese person.
Yeah, like that scene where the kid and the dog, he throws the stick. Like he's not speaking Japanese there, but
Fetch.
you totally get. I know he's saying fetch you or whatever, but you totally get the dynamic there.
Yeah.
And the story tells itself through the visuals.
And it works because the characters you're following are the dogs, and they don't understand the humans. So it kind of makes sense that we don't really hear what they're saying.
Can we address? I don't know if we can do this without spoilers. Just the mechanics of how the dogs and the humans interacted.
Oh, in what regard?
Well, who could understand who? Were the dogs able to understand what the humans were saying?
Yeah, I didn't think they could.
I don't think they were
Okay.
meant to understand.
Because there's some information that got relayed that I was kind of thinking, I feel like you'd have needed to have understood what the person was saying.
Yeah, I don't think they were meant to really understand more than dogs actually do understand humans, which can be quite a lot in some regards. But I don't think they were meant to. It was more like people who don't speak the same language communicating.
Yeah.
Like they weren't actually understanding the words, but they could still get stuff across.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of my interpretation.
Because one of the
as
dogs at
well.
one point was literally just like, "I wish someone spoke his language."
Yeah. I guess the one thing that we can talk about that in spoilers then.
The quaintness of the film like gets it over the line for me, where I don't have to have everything match up.
Yeah.
What about the presentation? There's a lot of text in this.
It speaks right to the audience a lot of the time.
It's in 4 parts, distinct parts. It's quite an
narrated quite a bit.
unusual. Yeah, it's quite an unusual sort of narrative and pacing. I felt in a lot of ways.
It was, as I said, because of the way that it was paced, it felt very. I guess the analogy that jumps to mind is very Japanese in the sense that in a lot of the culture they take their time to do something very well and then kind of present it, and it's not about getting it to you quickly, it's about getting it to you properly. And I think that kind of, I guess, vibe came across. Like they
translated,
weren't. Yeah, they weren't. The presentation of it was, all right, here's a slice of the story. I'm going to tell you what the story is about.
Or not even.
Strap
There's a long shot of just food being prepared at one point.
Oh, I
Which is a
love
Which is
that.
stunning
gorgeous,
scene.
yeah, and
Beautiful.
kind of disturbing because it's seafood getting killed. And
Yeah.
it's
Well,
quite
and
graphic.
they did not. This film. Do you know what the rating was?
PG.
It felt more than PG.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
It's-
There's a couple of scenes where I was like, "Oh, that seems like."
It's definitely on the more adult end of animation without being actually specifically for adults only.
Yeah, because it's not. I don't know if I'd say it's gory,
Mm.
but it kind of is.
It's
certain
frank
points.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
like,
that's
as
probably
an
the
adult
best way.
movie is like his other movies, and like Fantastic Mr. Fox was as well. Like that movie had so much like existential adult conversations. It's like, what are kids getting out of this?
But yeah, just visually, there were some things that I was like, "Oh wow, that's."
And in some ways, I feel like the film felt quite slow. But then when you think about the amount of times it sort of flicks back to the foreign exchange student and all these different things going on, like it darts around a lot.
I found it very kinetic. I didn't really find it slow at any point.
Okay.
I did, but I mean, that's I don't know.
What about, I think now's the time to maybe get into cast.
Hell yeah. So the 2 English leads essentially are Bryan Cranston and Edward Norton.
Yep.
Which is cool. Good to hear Edward Norton again. It's been a little while.
I did not pick up that was Edward Norton. I did not pick that up that was Bill Murray either.
I didn't know
at all.
I didn't pick up Bryan Cranston, to be honest. And
Oh,
he's
really?
like the lead.
Bryan
in the film,
Cranston
yeah.
sounds like a lot more gravelly and low.
I got
register.
that. I think because I knew
Yeah.
he was playing that role.
Yeah. I'd heard he was in it, but I didn't.
Definitely
didn't think of it.
recognized Goldblum in this.
Hell yeah.
he was
like,
great.
underutilized, criminally underutilized.
Yeah.
Goldblum is not in this movie enough.
He seemed like he had about 10 lines in this.
Yeah, I bet they were beautifully delivered.
Yeah, the Goldblum-esque delivery.
He was the one that was
great.
always given the rumors.
Was Bill Murray one of the pack, one of the main dogs?
I don't know.
Yeah, he was the
I
sport
didn't-
dog.
yeah, okay. I
Yeah.
didn't even really notice that. Scarlett Johansson was in there.
Yeah, I loved her character.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Very cool. Very Wes Anderson.
Just funny little scenes with her character.
And her character was really well animated among a bunch of really well animated characters.
Yeah.
I know we're talking about the cast in the movie, but I just want to mention, where's Jason Schwartzman? He's in like every Wes Anderson movie. I haven't seen him in years.
Wasn't he in
Did he
this?
die or something? I don't think so.
Yeah, wasn't he one of the dogs? Wasn't he the dog who was like, you know how there was like there was like
don't think
Bryan
so.
Cranston's dog,
Yeah.
and
He's
then
not
there
on
was the 4
cast.
others.
He's not on the cast list.
Who was? Oh, was that Edward Norton?
Yeah,
Wow.
the
Main guy.
the main dog. Yeah,
Wow.
that's why I said he
Okay.
was the lead.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was Jason Schwartzman for some reason.
That's funny. Well, you would because it's a Wes Anderson film. Anyway, since we've come back to Edward Norton, I thought he was really great in this.
I love some of the. He kind of like. There's one bit where they open up a bag and he's like describing all the things in it,
Yeah.
which seemed like very Wes Anderson.
Very Wes Anderson.
And he delivered that well. Like I
Yeah.
think he integrated into what Wes Anderson wanted him to do perfectly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really liked Edward Norton in this. He has a non-threatening voice, and it really came across as I guess a pet. That seems weird to say.
Yeah.
But it
Well, the
fit.
characterization of all the dogs was really great in that way, where they were, they were like sentient, smart beings, but they were also doggish.
Yeah,
In a lot of
yeah.
ways. I love the
Yeah.
way that they were subservient to the boy when he told him to sit and stuff. There's the one dog who won't sit, and they're like, sit.
Yeah, what are you doing? You're embarrassing us.
We've also got Yoko Ono as Yoko Ono, but not the Yoko Ono.
Yeah, that was
It's interesting.
Weird.
Feels like, yeah, just do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. She has like one line. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was really impressed with the cast. I can't really speak to the Japanese cast because I don't speak Japanese.
But they
They spoke it though.
spoke
did.
Japanese.
Boy, did they speak it.
And it integrated well with the
Yeah,
characters.
the voice of I know that we mentioned the henchman, Mr. Domo, but his his look was really spectacular, but also his voice
Yeah.
was the standout as far as the Japanese voice actors.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he was great. And the teeth.
Yeah.
The teeth just
yeah.
added so
Creepy.
much to that character.
Yeah.
It did. It reminded me of Salad Fingers.
And he was a character I don't think we got much translation on, but man, you got what he was talking about.
Oh,
yeah.
He
100%.
was scary.
One quick thing I know this is darting around a bit. Are we all done with the cast? Sorry. Is
I
that-
think so. Yeah, it's
I really like the sort of retro future they went for this. I
Mm.
thought it was interesting that they immediately set it up to be 20 years in the future. And, like the science labs in this had those old sort of real kind of like, it just felt like it was sort of like in the 70s or something. I really liked that.
it was a cool aesthetic. I was around that. It didn't feel too futuristic because it's only 20 years
Yeah,
in
it
the future,
didn't, did
so I
it?
thought that was good. Yeah. Look, should we jump into spoilers?
Yeah, should we give
Um,
overall final sort of like
Yeah.
rating?
I'm happy to go first. I think that if you enjoy Wes Anderson, then you will enjoy this.
You could say that about every Wes Anderson film, couldn't
Well,
you?
but I mean that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah,
and-
it's such
and
a
you-
brand.
I think you have to watch at least one Wes Anderson film to understand what I'm talking about. It's quaint and it's slow paced and it's meticulous. And if those are things that you think that you can handle, then you will have an absolute blast in this film. Maybe blast is the wrong word, but you will enjoy
It's
it.
a
thoroughly.
thrill ride.
What a
Yeah.
hoot. I don't have the enthusiasm to rave about this movie for whatever reason. I really enjoyed it. It's probably not going to stick with me too long. I feel like if this was your first Wes Anderson film, say you're maybe a bit younger, this could blow your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Like if this is your introduction to him, because I think almost any of his films could be that for you, because he's such a unique flavor in cinema. There's really nothing else like him whatsoever.
When you watch a Wes Anderson film, you're like, I wonder who directed this. Like no one does that. No one says that.
Yeah. Well, that's actually funny you say that because he's one of the few directors you literally never wonder like who made this film. Like you could not know who directed. You watch any of his movies and be like, okay, his signature is all
Yes.
over this.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely recommend it at the very least.
Yeah, I definitely recommend this and highly recommend it if you're into stop motion.
Very much.
I guess one of my issues with the film, and we can get more into this in spoilers, is just like a lack of connection to maybe the main plot thread. I really liked Bryan Cranston's character and the dog, and kind of like some of the beats that happened with his character, but there was just some like I was just like I wanted to get more into it. And meticulous, beautiful, amazing, but I just wanted to like really get soaked into it, and I felt like
There's a certain
there was-
attachment to it.
there was like just a barrier or something that I wasn't like, this is at an 11 out of 10, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm seeing. But as I said, I really, really enjoyed this, and from like a technical perspective, just outstanding. So yeah, I recommend it as well.